But people tune in for the bacchanal. People tune in for the fight. And I'm sad that that video with the young man being beaten, we had to see it. It's painful to watch. But I'm glad in a sense because I want other people, put a camera in your own house. Put a camera in some of the households. Put a camera in some of the offices. Rewind and look at how we treat with our children.
It's important to stand back and look at ourselves sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we would understand why we raising bullies, because some of us are in fact bullies. I want to go back to my time in primary school. I had a friend, and interestingly, I met her sister after all these years, many years ago. She was East Indian, I'm African. We were in primary school together. She would bring roti, and I would bring bake. In those days, it was a big shame when you had roti or bake. But I couldn't understand why. So when Maya would be hiding to eat her roti, I would take her roti in the bag and run all over the school and have Maya running behind me. I guess it was another kind of bullying, but my thing was, why are you hiding the roti? Let us hurry up and sit down and eat. So Maya and I would sit down afterwards and share this roti. But I couldn't understand, why are you so timid? Why are you afraid to take out your roti out of the paper bag? So my way of outing her was in fact bullying her, until you got to another level of understanding where sometimes in trying to help, you do in fact harm and perpetrate.
But you didn't actually harm her. You weren't physically taunting her or...
No, but in hindsight...
Or making her feel like less of a person.
Yeah, but other people would interpret it that way. But my thing was, I carry bake. If I eat in my bake, I'm not ashamed of my bake.
Also, you've always been this way then.
Yeah. I come from Covine.
Uh-huh. Well, you know, speaking of your primary school there, we've both been around the block quite a few times.
Yeah.
Has our society changed for the worse when it comes to bullying?
Has the
society changed for the worse? Because I know we've always had that little violent streak.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just me, but it seems to be getting a lot more violent of late.
I think it's more violent. I think it has a lot to do, too, with the affluence, with the global situation, where we have more access to internet, to technology, to guns, to weapons, different weapons, to a wider pool of people. And the affluence, too, has put a bigger gap in terms of haves and have-nots, we against them. Our language, we have to pay attention to how we language, some of the things that we say, the us and them, to those people and these people. And, you know, how we
exclusionary language.
Exclude people in our language, and, you know, and I think it has made it a little bit, well, not just a little, much more division, much more, you know, us and them, much more vicious, because in an instant you're upon someone. But it also brings it to us in the stark reality because of the opening up of the media, so that a lot of that was hidden. We are now coming face to face with it, but that a lot more people are influenced by what they're seeing, so they pattern what they do based on what they see. So it's multi-dynamic, it's multi-dimensional. There's so many aspects of it that we have to look at. It's a big problem, and as a social worker, one of the things they teach us very early is break it up into bite-sized pieces so that we can chew on it and we can try to see what we can do. So we have to break it up. We can't deal with all of it one time. All of us cannot deal with all of this, but what are the segments that we can take responsibility for in our personal lives, in our homes, in our communities, in our schools, wherever we are? How can we commit to make things happen, to do things differently?
For a lot of these kids, I suppose support groups would help. And I guess in that regard, the internet can in fact be a savior too, can't it?
Yeah.
Because they can speak anonymously on various sites, Facebook pages, things like that about bullying, for example.
So we have to come up with creative and innovative ways that we do that. One of the things I want to pick up on Verna, it's a compulsory age for schooling. Because we're talking about all of this in a vacuum. Children are not compelled to attend school after age 12.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was much older than that, okay.
12. So, we're talking all of this nice thing. But if children don't turn up at school because of the bullying, nobody checks to find out why, because it's no longer a responsibility. So people who have not been successful at SE or whatever, and they're taunted or they feel less than, or somebody do them something and they don't come to school. The young man I was talking about who did not go to a regular school for a year, they had to put him into private tuition. Nobody checked to find out why hasn't he been to school. And again, we talk about children falling through the cracks. That is not a crack, that is a manhole. We just allow these things to happen. So how do we treat with the age of compulsory schooling? Do we increase it? What are the things we put in place to treat with that? Yeah? So you see, it's as wide as it is broad, and we have to do the education and we have to do the awareness.
We're in the home stretch here, Verna. If you were to speak to the audience right now, to little kids who are being bullied, what would you tell them?
Hi, what do I tell them without bursting into tears?
I know that feeling,
yeah. I would want to say to them that I apologize. I would want to apologize. First of all, that we as adults have not put things in place to protect them, to keep them safe, to stop the behaviors that they are victim of. And I would want to talk to the bullies also. I would want to say to the bullies, stop, talk to someone, because you yourself may be hurting, that your behavior must not define who you are. The things that you do that may be bad, that is not who you are. Your problem is who you are. You're much more than that. And that there's always somebody, and I want to believe that there is somebody that you can talk to and that we can work through some of these problems together. And I want to give them hope, and I want to tell them I am embarrassed a lot of the time by what we have done or failed to do. And I do apologize over and over. And I want them to do well in spite of our feelings. And that I want us to be a place and to be a people where there's always someone, that a child in trouble, perpetrator or victim, can feel that they could come to someone and be believed and be heard and be helped. I really don't know what to say to the children because I'm so sad. It is so painful. I feel so ashamed and so inadequate sometimes. But I really want to appeal to the population, to the nation, to the country. We cannot continue to pay lip service. We cannot continue to say we care about our children, we like our children, and when it comes to putting things in place to help our children, we are so lax, we fail, we are so slow, and we believe that money is the only thing. It's about much more than money. There are a lot of things that we can do that we do need no set of money to do.
And as adults, if we see it happening, it's our job and our duty to get involved.
It's our duty, it's our responsibility to do something about it. Stand up, speak out, stop it. Do it together. If you're afraid to do it alone, the same way we use the technology, call somebody else, call a number of people. Let us do something about it. We have to stop it now.
Verna, it's been an honor as always having you on the program. Thank you so much.
It has been a pleasure being here. Thank you, Verna.
Thank you.
And let's see what we can do.
We should all get involved.
Yes.
You've been watching One on One. Join us again tomorrow for another edition.